I thank the gentleman. I rise in opposition of this bill, but I would like to clarify something. We're not trying to scare kids. This president's foreign policy is what's scaring the kids of this country. And then people have said today, why are people believing this? Why are people believing this big internet hoax? Well, it's the same people that told us Saddam Hussein had something to do with 9/11. Same people that told us Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. Same people that told us we were going to be able to use the oil for reconstruction money. Same people that told us that we'd be greeted as liberators, not occupiers. Same people, same president that told us the Taliban is gone. Same president that told us that Poland is our ally 2 days before they pull out. Same president that tells us Iraq is going just great. Same president that tells us the economy is going just great. Same people that told us the tax cut was going to create millions of jobs. Same people that told us that the Medicare program only cost $400 billion when it really cost $540 billion. So please forgive us for not believing what you're saying.
I'm giving you a hypothetical because you're making up your Rosie O'Donnell-like scandals that says that 9/11 was an inside job.
Well, why are you not allowed to ask anything about it?
No,
why, when you approach the government, I approached the government.
I read everything possible. I watched all the hearings. You're right. I haven't read. You looked at my reading list. Have you read the 9/11 report and you think it's a piece of fiction?
No, I believe everything in it. I believe my government's never lied to me, have they? Let's see, where should we start? The Gulf of Tonkin incident? Now that took us into war in Vietnam. They've now admitted it was a lie. So 58,000 of my generation were killed based upon a lie. But that doesn't count, does it?
What does that have to do with 9/11?
That shows that we will lie to go to war. They lie all the time. Have you been in government? No, I have.
All right, so that's for. So I've never been in the NFL, but I could watch a football game and judge what's going on.
Why do we have the CIA embedded in all state government when their mission statement says that they're not?
The question. If you just say one thing, you don't think the CIA has our best interest in mind. You don't think our intelligence branch.
I never said any of that.
But your questions and conclusions only lead to that one statement. That you think everyone's against America, the government's against America.
True. Always remember, dissension's the greatest form of patriotism. Tom Jefferson said that.
Ridiculous. Okay, let's talk about your BBC. I have a tape of a BBC reporter broadcasting directly back to England talking about a third building has collapsed. World Trade Center Building 7 talks for 7 minutes. All the while she's talking, World Trade Center Building 7 is still standing right behind her. It didn't fall for another half hour. Yet they were doing a pre-broadcast back to England that, yes, it's true,
you need to
that this building fell and it hadn't fallen yet.
If you're trying to make out the British Broadcasting Company, one of the most respected news organisations in the world, was inventing huge buildings falling over, you need to have a break, Jesse. We'll come back after the break and we'll talk about Israel and Iran.
Are you kidding me? This is a fact, my friend.
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago, I was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing. And indeed it has. Apparently that's only a few hundred yards away from where the World Trade Center towers were. And it seems it was not a result of a new attack. It was because the building had been weakened during this morning's attacks. We'll probably find out more now about that from our correspondent, Jane Stanley. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy. There's almost a sense downtown in New York behind me, down by the World Trade Centers, of just an area completely closed off as the rescue workers try to do their job. But this isn't the first building that has suffered as a result. We know that part of the Marriott Hotel next to the World Trade Center also collapsed as a result of this huge amount of falling debris from 110 floors of the two twin towers of the World Trade Center. As you can see behind me, the Trade Center appears to be still burning. We see these huge clouds of smoke and ash, and we know that behind that there's an empty piece of what was a very familiar New York skyline, a symbol of the financial prosperity of this city. But
video cameras caught trucks arriving at the World Trade Center from about August 23rd until every night until about September 2nd, September 3rd. And the trucks were arriving at about 3 o'clock in the morning when everybody else had left the building, including the janitorial trucks. And the trucks were leaving at 5 a.m. right before the AAA personalities of Wall Street got to work to start their day. Something was brought into that building that would help with the detonation. There may have been work done on the detonation before. It may have been going on for months, but whatever they needed at the very end, they came and brought in that 10-day period. That's what we think happened. The airplane hijackings were a cover for the controlled demolition, which was undertaken by a small group of people, probably just 4 or 5 people. We are never going to know who they are, and it's not worth looking for them. And in August of 2001, I was told to stay out of New York City because the attack was considered imminent. We expected mass casualties and a possible miniature thermonuclear strike, a bomb. However, I want to be very clear. The attack was always defined as airplane hijackings and a strike on the World Trade Center.
We're at a hotel in Arlington, Virginia. It shows the explosion that followed the crash of American Airlines Flight 77 into the Pentagon, but the video does not show the airplane. The video's existence was disclosed in 2002. A hotel manager says it was confiscated by the FBI. It was just publicly released as the result of a lawsuit.
If there is one thing that has distinguished the United States of America from the rest of the world, it is our unwavering belief in freedom. And if there is one thing that protects and upholds that freedom, it is the Constitution of the United States.
Lane clear! Clear! We came here looking for a subject that we had an arrest warrant for. Obviously, we didn't find it.
The Patriot Act
Permits federal agents to write their own search warrants.
Roving wiretaps without having to identify the person.
Many Americans are being monitored.
The FBI monitoring young children.
Authorizes surveillance by suspicion, monitoring citizens not linked to any terrorist groups.
I don't think the Patriot Act would have been passed if it would have been called Repeal the Fourth Amendment Act.
Fourth Amendment, gone.
Do you want to have the government have the ability to send you to Guantanamo Bay?
The National Defense Authorization Act
Gives the military the power to indefinitely detain American citizens.
Without trial.
Suspected, not convicted.
When they say, I want my lawyer, you tell them, shut up.
Officially declares the United States a battleground.
It designates the world as the battlefield, including the homeland.
Sixth Amendment, gone.
There is absolutely never a reason to give up 1 ounce of freedom for the sake of security. It won't work.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God.
My administration will not authorize the indefinite military detention. President Obama, on New Year's Eve, signed the National Defense Authorization Act.
No more national security letters to spy on citizens who are not suspected of a crime.
President Obama signed into law a 4-year extension of the Patriot Act.
Drones that Congress you love so much just passed a bill which the president is expected to sign into law. Drone aircraft for use in American airspace by the year 2015. The agency officials say 30,000 of them by 2020.
They can be used for surveillance to establish daily routine.
From the moment that you walk out of your home in the morning until you return at night, your every movement will be tracked by this unseen eye in the sky.
Governor Romney, as president, would you have signed the National Defense Act?
Yes, I would have, and I do believe that it's appropriate.
I think you want to use every tool that you can possibly use. The Patriot Act has clearly been a key part of that. All of us will be in danger for the rest of our lives.
There is no such society that I'm aware of where we've had radical individualism and that it succeeds as a culture.
There is such a society. It's called the United States of America.
This idea that people should be left alone, be able to do whatever they want to do. Government should keep our taxes down and keep our regulation flowing, that we shouldn't get involved in the bedroom, we shouldn't get involved in cultural issues. That is not how traditional conservatives view the world.
They want you to believe that patriotism means that you support everything the government wants. A true patriot defends liberty and the people.
The former Minnesota governor from, let's see, 1999 to 2003, right? Yeah. He has been a vocal critic of the political system that he used to be a part of. And in his latest book, which is called Democrips and Rebloodlicans, he claims that both parties have turned politics into gang warfare.
No. I'm telling people to vote, but don't vote for Democrats or Republicans.
Okay.
I still want people to vote, absolutely.
Okay, so if they're not voting for Democrats or Republicans, who are they voting for?
That's the point. You know, they tell you, no, I'm voting for Governor Gary Johnson, the former governor of New Mexico, who's running under the Libertarian Party. And all Ron Paul supporters, I hope, will too, because Ron Paul was a Libertarian in '88.
So don't vote for the candidates?
No, don't vote for a Democrat or Republican.
Just vote for whom you like.
That's wasting your vote, because if you vote for a Democrat, they always tell you, if you vote for the third party or a third candidate, you're wasting your vote. I'd like to reverse that and say you're wasting your vote if you vote for a Democrat or Republican, because you're going to get the same thing. It does not matter.
To something, are you just voting party lines blindly, or are you voting for the person who's going to turn things around or make things better or continue to make things better?
Well, the thing you need to understand is they're all subjected to the party. That's why it's a gang. Loyalty is first to the gang, then it's to the money that the gang gets. We, the people, might be third or fourth. Take a look at our stagnation today. It's because the two gangs are so, you have to support the gang, and I call them gangs. They're not parties. The definition of party is a festive occasion.
You're taking kind of an interesting stance, because most people are saying we got to bring it together, we're kumbaya, and you say, look, this is not happening. These are two gangs that are at war with one another, essentially.
Well,
do you think that's a good
system? Why not change that?
I'd like to do that.
The way money is poured into
What I'm doing is changing the system.
Let's try to change that.
Wait, they tell you in the private sector competition is good, right?
Sure.
Well, then why for 20 years have we not heard a third voice in a debate? All you get is Coke and Pepsi.
Okay, so what you are saying... What you are saying is vote for an individual, don't vote for a party. But then how do those individuals get into the race?
Well, it's very difficult because the two parties control the system.
Okay, so what is the solution?
The solution, the first thing that should be done, can be done locally. Remove all gang names and symbols from a ballot and just put the candidate's name. They make it far too easy. You don't have to know the candidate. If you're conservative, you walk in and look for Republican. If you're liberal, you walk in and look for Democrat.
You don't know the person, you're saying, going into that booth.
Let's make it, remove those names, then it becomes imperative for the voter to educate themselves.
But Jesse,
what does this candidate stand for?
During the primaries, your boy Ron Paul was one of the candidates. He didn't win the nomination. He had a fair shot.
Are you kidding me with the media? He finished a close second to Bachmann in Iowa. They didn't even mention Ron Paul's name. They went down to Santorum, who finished about fifth.
Well, who are you blaming for that?
Because they're all part of it. The media is part of this too, and it all goes to our recent Supreme Court decision, which will kill this country.
That's true. I agree with that.
When they said corporations have the same rights as individuals and money is free speech. Well, look at this scenario now, if you will. Our election could be controlled now by a foreign country. All they have to do is form a corporation. They can pump unlimited amount of money into it.
They might have done that in this election.
There's no open disclosure.
Right, don't even know.
They've even took that away. Who's responsible? Right. The Democrats and the Republicans, and my apologies to the Crips and Bloods.
Hello, America, and welcome to the program. I want to talk to you a little bit about this chalkboard. This is something that when I was over at Fox, I laid out, except I didn't put this part down because I don't think I understood it yet. This isn't going to come as a brainstorm to very many people, but it is to me because I think it's the answer. Right now, after the election, we have everybody, we have all these Republicans saying we've got to abandon our principles, we've got to become more liberal, and what they want to do is they want to move closer to the Democrats. And so cut this even into a smaller pie. This whole chart is the real left or right. Right now, we're told that the Republicans are right and the Democrats are left. But really the scale is totalitarian and anarchy. Those are the edges. And after we fought the Revolutionary War, we had the Articles of Confederation. And it was as close to anarchy as they could possibly put it without being anarchy. But it was too close, and so it fell apart. So they came back and they did it again. And they put the Constitution just out of arm's reach of anarchy. And they told us that it was important to stay here. Well, through something called the Overton window, we just slid this window down over and over and over, farther and farther down here. And we believe, and this is why George Washington said the two-party system will kill you, because it presents you with a false choice. Down this far is the Nazis, the communists, and the theocrats. People in our media and in our schools and everything else will try to convince you that the Nazis are right and the communists are left. No, they're not. Neither are the mullahs. They're all here. They're all on this end of the spectrum. And we are moving closer to that end of the spectrum. This is a false choice. Here's where the growth comes. If you really want revolutionary thinking, if you really want to save our country, that's why I've been saying lately, forget about the parties. It's not going to happen in Washington because they refuse to think out of this little box because that's where all their power is. But if you really want to know how to gather a storm, how to gather enough people, you come and you look between this one and this goalpost. This goalpost here, the Constitution, and the Republicans. And you get as close to this one as possible. Almost everybody lives in this box. There are some people that live over here as well, but almost everybody lives somewhere in this part. This is Occupy Wall Street. They're past the Articles of Confederation, and some of them believe, I don't even know how, they're anarchist, say it for me, Penn.
Anarchists.
Anarchists that are communist and socialist as well. That's not, I don't understand how that's even possible. No government and total government. But they live somewhere down in here. But some of them actually believe some of the things that we believe in the Constitution. The Tea Party is rooted around the Constitution, but they also spread down closer to the Republicans and the evil Newt Gingrich. This is the problem. This is a problem. But this is the answer.
My name is Gary Johnson. 61% of Americans believe America is on the wrong track. 75% of Americans want a full audit of the Federal Reserve. 50% of Americans say marijuana should be dealt with like alcohol. 65% do not believe that keeping troops in Afghanistan will make the U.S. any safer. 62% favor marriage equality. 91% oppose the renewal of the Patriot Act. Less than 10% of America trusts the federal government, and over 80% wishes there were a third choice for president in 2012. Of the three men whose names will appear on the ballot come November, I'm the only candidate who agrees with you 100%. Be libertarian with me for one election. Live free.
only getting started. I won't